Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be the last of our videos on the age of exploration, and today we're just going to be talking about the African slave trade, and that's it. It's not going to take us too long, so let's get into this real fast. First of all, what you have to understand about the slave trade is that it occurred in the Triangle. Obviously, you get stuff coming from Africa, but here's how the trade worked. You had different things going to and from different places, and it's hard to show you guys on this on what I'm on right now, but I'll show you real quick. You can see it from Europe going to Africa. You can see on the map here. You had some. I'll make it bigger. You had manufactured goods. Among those manufactured goods were weapons and alcohol, and other things, trinkets, small little things that weren't really worth anything. Going from Africa to the New World, you had slaves or gold. And so you can see here in the New World, I'll pop my head over here. Ooh, see, you can see going here to the New World that you had all these things going to the New World. And now most of the slaves, I want you to know, went to South America or the Caribbean. They actually did not go to the United States, what would become the United States, a very small minority. And then from the New World, you basically had what you should really consider a raw materials, cotton, sugarcane being taken to England and in Europe to be produced into things. So those are the things that were taken and traded along the Triangle now. Okay, I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. All right, and so, what was it like? What was this slave trade or slave triangle like? Well, the middle of this passage was something called the Terrible Triangle. Okay, so this is obviously a bad cycle that's happening, and so the middle part is called the Middle Passage. And in the Middle Passage, you had these extremely high death rates. Slaves were coming to the New World, something entreated and cramped cargo. You remember, Africans weren't really treated or considered people here, so they were shoved in the cargo holds, packed very tightly, even though they were precious cargo, very valuable raw material for labor. They still weren't treated well. They were treated as a commodity. And so you would have death rates sometime up as high. Some people estimate 50%. Some historians say that even some ships came over and lost their entire hull. Now, why did they die? They died of disease. They died of malnutrition, of not eating. They died. The diseases spread rapidly, being in close quarters, and the poor living conditions, rats, things like that, are some of the things that contributed. There were many suicides, slaves jumping overboard to escape their fate. But that Middle Passage had a particularly rough hold, and really kind of sets the stage for the maltreatment of Africans in America, although, as we'll learn later, that in Latin America, Africans were treated very differently than they were in North America, really a lot different societally. Okay, and the last portion that we're going to talk about are the effects on Africa itself. In terms of their direct effects on Africa, Africa saw a couple things. One, loss of manpower. They had their population decrease dramatically. They saw many members of their society leaving, and so it caused a lot of disruption that way. Two, second major impact on Africa was the disruption of society. What you had was essentially Europeans or others, even the Muslim traders who were earlier slave traders in Eastern Africa. The early slave traders would come in and they would say, hey, tribe A, this one tribe, you need to provide us with 20 slaves, whatever. And what you would end up with are these different groups fighting against one another. And so there caused a lot of divisions in society. And that really is what the negative impact was on Africa. Not just simply losing manpower, but also because the Europeans were encouraging groups to fight against one another. And so the entirety of African society began to break down along ethnic lines. Religious communities and kingdoms began to break down because of that.